188 tons of steel, 88 millimeters of pure destruction, and a name that still strikes fear: the Panzer. Today, we strip down the 12 legendary German tanks of World War II. From lightning speed to unstoppable armor, let's dive in. Panzer I was the spark that ignited the German armored dream. Weighing just 5.4 tons, it was never intended to be a frontline brawler. Its primary purpose was as a training platform for the crews of the future. In terms of firepower, it was extremely light, carrying only two 7.92mm machine guns, making it ineffective against enemy tanks. However, it was nimble, reaching a 37 km/h speed that allowed German commanders to perfect the fluid maneuvers of the Blitzkrieg. With 1,500 units produced, it proved that tactical coordination and radio communication were far more lethal than raw caliber in the early stages of the war. Panzer II was the essential evolution needed to provide more punch to the light divisions. At 8.9 tons, it was a larger and more robust design than its predecessor. It was significantly upgunned with a 20mm autocannon, giving it the ability to engage light fortifications and reconnaissance vehicles. Built for rapid advances, it was capable of hitting 40 km/h. Germany pumped out 1,850 units, making it the primary striking force during the historic invasions of Poland and France. It wasn't a heavy hitter, but it was reliable, fast, and the backbone of Germany's early victories. Panzer XXXVIII was a Czechoslovakian masterpiece that fell into German hands during the occupation. It was so technically superior that the Wehrmacht adopted it immediately. It was remarkably tough for its 9.8-ton weight, featuring a rivet construction design that offered surprising durability. It was armed with a high-velocity 37mm Skoda gun that outclassed most light tanks of the era. This tank was remarkably agile, reaching a top speed of 42 km/h. With 1,400 units produced, its chassis was so reliable and efficient that it remained in service as a platform for various tank destroyers long after its own armor became obsolete. Panzer III was Germany's first true dedicated tank-versus-tank specialist. Weighing 23 tons, it represented a massive leap in tactical design and internal ergonomics. It was usually armed with a 50mm gun, specifically designed to penetrate the armor of contemporary Allied tanks. Capable of maintaining a 40 km/h speed, it was the gold standard for mobile warfare. Over 5,770 units were produced. Its most significant contribution was its three-man turret, which allowed the commander to focus entirely on the tactical situation while the gunner and loader managed the weapon, a layout that became the standard for all modern tanks. Panzer IV stands as the only German tank to remain in continuous production throughout the entire war. This 25-ton beast was the ultimate workhorse of the Wehrmacht, designed for versatility and constant upgrades. It was armed with a deadly 75mm gun that was eventually lengthened to keep pace with heavier Allied armor. Despite its weight increases, it maintained a solid 38 km/h speed. With a massive production run of 8,500 units, it was the most numerous and reliable tank in the German arsenal, serving from the fields of France to the streets of Berlin. Stug III might look like a simple box on tracks, but it became Germany's most produced armored vehicle. This 23.9-ton assault gun lacked a rotating turret, which gave it a low, stealthy profile that made it the perfect ambush predator. It carried a powerful 75mm gun that could be fired with incredible accuracy. Moving at a respectable 40 km/h, it was cheap to build and easy to maintain. With over 10,000 units built, the Stug III claimed more tank kills than any other German vehicle, proving that a hidden gun is often deadlier than a heavy turret. Panzer V Panther was Hitler's direct response to the legendary Soviet T-34. It weighed 44.8 tons, but its design focused on modern sloped armor that effectively doubled its protection. Its long-barrel 75mm gun had terrifying penetration power, outperforming the guns of much heavier tanks. Despite its size, it was incredibly fast, hitting 55 km/h, making it one of the most mobile medium-heavy tanks of the era. Even though it was complex to manufacture, 6,000 units saw action, and it is still considered by many to be the best overall tank design of the Second World War. Panzer VI Tiger I became the stuff of nightmares for Allied tank crews. At 54 tons, it was a massive technological leap in heavy armor. It featured 100 millimeters of flat armor on the front, making it nearly invincible for years against standard anti-tank guns. It was armed with the legendary 88 millimeters gun, a weapon capable of vaporizing an Allied tank from 2 miles away. While its speed was a modest 38 kilometers per hour, it didn't need to run. It simply dominated. Only 1,350 units were built, but the Tiger phobia it created lasted until the final days of the war. Tiger II, commonly known as the King Tiger, was a 68-ton fortress designed to be the final word in armored dominance. It featured a long 88 millimeters gun that could penetrate any tank in existence from extreme distances. While it could reach a top speed of 38 kilometers per hour, its massive weight was a logistical nightmare, often causing it to break through bridges and consume fuel at an unsustainable rate. With only 490 units produced, it was a rare sight, but its presence on the battlefield forced the Allies to halt their advances and plan with extreme caution. Jagdpanther is often cited as the most effective tank destroyer of the war. It was a 45.5-ton Predator that combined the mobile chassis of the Panther with the firepower of the King Tiger. It was armed with the lethal 88 mm Pak-43, a gun that could destroy any target it encountered. It hit speeds of 46 kilometers per hour and featured heavily sloped armor that made it incredibly difficult to knock out from the front. Only 415 units were made, making it a rare and terrifying encounter for Allied crews who strayed into its sights. Jagdtiger remains the heaviest armored vehicle ever to see actual combat. At a massive 71.7 tons, it was the ultimate evolution of the static fortress concept. It carried a monstrous 128 mm gun that could literally vaporize any tank, regardless of its armor thickness. However, its sheer size made it incredibly cumbersome. It only moved at 34 kilometers per hour and was highly prone to mechanical breakdowns due to the stress on its engine and transmission. With only 80 units ever built, it was a symbol of raw power that the German industry could no longer support. Panzer VIII Maus was the absolute extreme of German engineering and Hitler's obsession with size. It weighed an insane 188 tons, more than 3 Tiger tanks combined. It was designed to be an unstoppable breakthrough tank, carrying both a 128 mm and a 75 mm gun in one massive turret. However, it never saw combat, and only 2 prototypes were made. Moving at a crawl of 13 kilometers per hour, it was too slow to be practical and too heavy for almost any road or bridge in Europe. It remains today as a monument to a war that had transitioned from tactical brilliance to impossible engineering dreams.